All right, guys, welcome back to your Everything Gospel podcast. I'll be doing my preview and prediction for the game above Sports Bowl from Ford Field in Detroit, Thursday, December 26th, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. 51 and a half is the total, 7.1 in favor of the Panthers. Getting things started with the Pitt offense going against the Toledo defense. Eli Holstein should be playing at quarterback for Pittsburgh. He's been a little beat up over the last couple of weeks of the regular season. Missed 2 starts, only threw a couple snaps against Louisville, so hopefully he can get back out there. Was struggling a little bit going into those into the month of November. Anyways, they have a nice winning streak. We was playing really good ball. For the most part, though, this year it's been good. Over 20 yards passing, 17 touchdowns, and 7 picks. He's also ran for 328 and 3 scores, so he does have some dual threat nature to him. Over 250 total yards this season for his passing attack. Kanata Mumpfield, top pass catcher, he's opted out for the NFL. Des Reed, he's been a great running back for them, but he's also a phenomenal pass catcher, second in the team in yards, receptions. He's also got 4 touchdowns. Kenny Johnson, Raphael Williams, Gavin Bartholomew are going to see a lot more touches, more opportunities. I think they can handle those, especially in this bowl game. I think they'll be just fine at pass catcher. Having Mumpfield is big, but these are some other guys that have produced throughout the year, so I'm pretty confident in their abilities to step up. The depth isn't the greatest, though. Sincerely, he got injured a couple weeks ago, and Dejon Reynolds is in the portal, so they don't have incredibly deep depth. I think they have enough guys that can get the job done, though. That includes Des Reed getting plenty of extra looks. This is a guy that's 797 and 4 touchdowns rushing. Runs for over 5 yards per attempt. Toledo, their defense has been good this year, giving up almost 22 points per game. On the ground, they've been very respectable. They've had some tough games, though. 138 yards per game allowed. They did give up 200 plus to Ohio, 200 plus to Bowling Green, and the 200 plus to Buffalo as well. So in conference play, they've been less than ideal for the most part, but they have had some stellar outings. But against a group like this, might be a little bit tougher for them. This is a good D-line led by an elite player in Darius Alexander. He's been a phenomenal run stopper for them this season. Deshaun Holt, DeAndre Ragan, some other guys have played a good bit. Kayvon Butler. It's a pretty respectable rotation. Martez Ponter, Malachi Davis. They got 6 guys I just named off right there. They're really admirable, but of course Alexander is a phenomenal asset for them. This defense looks like they're fully healthy. No one's really opted out either or transferred. Jackson Barrow at linebacker, he's going to be your best leader. And you look at the secondary, this is a group that's only given up 214 yards per game. They've snagged 10 interceptions, 14 TDs they've allowed. They weren't all that great against Akron. They're giving up some nice efficiency there. In conference play, they were pretty stellar for the most part. I know that a competitive game against Eastern Michigan, they weren't all that good in. Early on in the year against some non-conference opponents, the secondary struggled a little bit, but this isn't a bad unit by any means. I think they'll be able to hold their own at least. Avery Smith, Nazir Bowers have been really good corners on the outside. In the slot, we'll see Braden Alls, what kind of matchups he draws. He's been also pretty good in coverage. And Maxine Hook at safety, he's a phenomenal player, especially against the run. He's a highly efficient tackler at safety. I haven't seen anything that would suggest he's not going to be playing in this game. 107 tackles on the year, 2 interceptions, 4 PBUs. So it's a really good defense overall for Toledo. How will they match up against a team of similar caliber? Early on in the year, they played Mississippi State, and they held them under 400 yards and blew them out on the road. Very interesting game against the Bulldogs there. So they've proven they can play against Power 4 caliber. That's an SEC team they handled in Pittsburgh. This is a respectable unit. They really struggled coming into the year, though. The offensive line's not all that great. So it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be exactly a cakewalk by any means. I think there's enough talent here if Holstein's fully healthy. They should get back to putting on, a bit of a show in terms of his dual threat prowess. Toledo, though, this is certainly a winnable matchup for them coming into this game, though. They didn't play the best of ball. I lost 2 in a row to Ohio and Akron, a bad Akron team. And the defense gave up almost 6 yards per play in that one. Couldn't generate many stops. But it's been a month since that happened, so hopefully they can put that behind them if they want to have a shot at winning this game. Third down defense, giving them about 38%. It's not ideal. Over the last month, they really struggled on third down, and that led to a lot of close games and, a couple of losses as well. So the last 5 games for them were not all that ideal for Toledo, a team that left a lot on the table, it seems. Now we'll move to the other side of the ball. Toledo offense on the Pittsburgh defense for Toledo. You start with a quarterback in Tucker Gleason. He's helping score almost 27 points per game, 22 touchdowns, 7 picks, about 223 yards passing. He's also got 330 and 6 rushing himself. So this is a guy they can certainly lean on in a couple of different facets. Has some nice dual threat abilities. He's a pretty respectable scrambler there. I thought this is a quarterback that played pretty good throughout the year. Didn't see too many struggles from him. That Akron game I referred to, they really couldn't run the ball, but he threw the ball very well. Against Ohio, though, in Central Michigan, wasn't all that good. But in some other games throughout the year, he's able to put up 250-plus yards pretty frequently, and this is a guy that can be a volume passer, it seems. Toledo certainly isn't a team that airs it out that much. At least that's what we've seen over the last couple of years. But this year, the story's been a little bit different. They have good pass catchers. Jerron Newton, obviously his brother Johnny Newton in the NFL as a defensive lineman. 949 yards, 11 touchdowns on 64 grabs. And Junior Vander Ross, 73 for almost 800 yards and 4 scores. Anthony Torres, a good tight end, 362 and 8 touchdowns. Those are going to be your top 3 guys that they lean on the most. The run game isn't all that good, 118 yards per game. No 200-yard contests this year. Haven't eclipsed 180 yards in a game either. And, this is a Pitt defense that's pretty good against the run. 115 yards per game allowed in the ACC. Louisville gave them some troubles. Virginia ran the ball a lot. Didn't really have that great of efficiency, though. And then West Virginia early on in the season. Those are the only teams that really had any type of success running the ball. They played Amari in Hampton early on in the year, held him in check for the most part, as good as you can against a player like that, that type of caliber. I like this Pitt defense, though. I know they really struggled down the stretch after a phenomenal start to the year. This is old school Narduzzi defense. They're going to show you a variety of different looks. They're going to play with some toughness in the front seven. The secondary is going to be hard to find holes in the zone. I mean, they have a lot of great scheming that everyone, if you've watched Pitt football, you know what I mean. Guys like Nate Matlock, Jimmy Scott up front, Nick James, Isaiah Neal, Sincere Edwards has been an impressive player. Chief Borders, a veteran. This is a nice defense. I think this seems like a great matchup for them to really collapse the pocket as well. Kyle Lewis at linebacker, 15.5 TFL for him. Raheem Biles has another 14.5, and then Braylon Lovelace also has 10.5. So this is a linebacking group that's ultra productive. I mean, that's a lot of numbers there. 99 tackles for loss for this Pitt defense that is 25th ranked against the run. The linebackers have been tremendous this year. And again, down the stretch is really when they started getting beat up. They also started to struggle on offense at the same time. So this team was, throughout the year, they played a lot of plays, though, 879 plays. I'm going to see where that ranks because that's a lot of plays for them to be on the field. They were on the field almost 100 plays against Syracuse because they kept snagging interceptions and getting short fields. It just led to them being on the field so much. And, 115th nationally in most plays on defense. So this is a defense that certainly was grateful to have a rest and maybe a little bit worn out. Balance for Louisville was very ideal in that game. Passed the ball very well against Clemson. The Tigers cooled off in the second half, but the defense was really getting beat up in that one, and the QB run also affected the final outcome there. So the last month of the year, this 5-game losing streak hasn't been ideal. Facing some good offenses, though. Facing some bad ones also, like Virginia. Boston College isn't the worst, but certainly not the best. This is a very capable defense, though. In a matchup like this, they should do just fine. Again, I alluded to a phenomenal linebacking group that's going to lead the way. They also have a player in Brandon George, who I didn't even mention, and he's also probably the best run defender on the team. Pretty reliable in coverage. This is a phenomenal part of this defense. The secondary does rank 120th nationally. Rashad Battle, Ryland Gandy, solid corners, nothing too special. Kyle Lewis at backer. He's going to play a lot in the slot. Love his utilization. Javon McIntyre, Phillip O'Brien. When they get on the field, you could probably target them a good bit. And then at free safety, Donovan McMillan, he's going to be one of the leaders on this team, who's phenomenal against the run. High-end producer as well. This team has a lot of playmakers. Pretty happy with how they performed this year. Again, things got real bumpy towards the end of the season, so that brings their numbers up to almost 27 points per game. This is a good defense, so I don't think they're bad at all. They also have 40 sacks. It's one of the nation's higher marks. And then 12 interceptions they've snagged. And, of course, Kyle Lewis has 4 of them, who's been a phenomenal producer for Pittsburgh. Not much is really going to affect them on this side of the ball. And a couple of, most of the guys hitting the portal, just rotational players on this side of the ball. So it's going to be a full starting defense. I think this will be a pretty good, opportunity for them to impress here against Toledo. So I don't think Pitt's going to struggle on the defensive side of the ball at all, even though the numbers would suggest they might. I don't think that's going to be the case for them. But I think they'll have Toledo in a lot of third and shorts. It's going to be a great opportunity for them to tee off. That leads us to the final prediction. Team comparisons. I think Pittsburgh can get the edge in most spots. Maybe receiver with that nice duo for Toledo with Newton and Vander Ross. Might get them a slight edge. I don't think so, though. Everywhere else, though, I think Pitt clears them. Offensive line, Toledo, much better. The Pitt offensive line towards the bottom in some categories there. And I'll call it even in the secondary. I think there's more playmaker for Pitt. 120th nationally. Still, it means something. Well, Toledo's played pretty respectable throughout the year. Haven't seen anything like this, though. I'm going to stick with a 30-20 victory for Pitt. I'm certainly worried about their ability to win this game. Where's this team's mindset after losing 5 in a row at the end of the year? Same thing can be said about Toledo, though. They didn't look great towards the end of the season. Lost 3 of the last 5 games. Beat Eastern Michigan. That's not really that good of a team by a point on the road. They were able to handle Central Michigan just fine, but 4 of those 5 games really haven't been that impressive for Toledo. And then the loss against Akron that was very upsetting. That was pretty disappointing. That's not a good team at all. I mean, that's a pretty bad defense in the MAC, and they couldn't generate much offense in that one. So I'll stick with Pitt here in this one. I hope they don't come into this game dragging their feet. It's a shorter trip for Toledo down to Detroit than it is for the Panthers. Don't think it's going to be a problem at all, but I'm going to stick with them 30-20, slightly covering that spread. I think this could be an interesting game, though, but I think Holstein will be back and healthy. Reed's going to make a lot of plays. I don't think they're going to have much fall off in this matchup at receiver. And again, I think a lot of the third and shorts will be the game for Toledo, and they won't be able to convert on all of those. So I think they'll have some success on a couple of them because the receivers are good. That's about it, though. It's going to be for today's episode. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.